Yeah, we're good?
It's recording now.
Okay. Let's get rid of this. All right, let's hope I don't mess this up. Slideshow. There we go. Bada bing, bada bing. All right. Okay. Hey, gang. Good morning. How's everybody? Everybody good? Are all the schools in school?
I think so.
Right? All the kids are in school now, right? We're good to go? Okay. Because some of the meetings were a little lean in the summer here with vacations and stuff like that. But, you know, the Caspers are here, so that's all that matters here. You know, they showed up today, you know. It's funny when certain teams or experienced really good agents show up when the attorneys are going to be here. Not saying that there's any reference there or whatever, but you never know. You know, crap happens here, you know. But before we get to these two good-looking guys, let me cover some stuff real quick. Before I forget, because I certainly will, I want to show you guys something that you should know. This is in your matrix. If you log into your single sign-on, click on Applied Analysis, or you can just go to lvrdata.com, and all these cool reports are in there that you pay for, that you never use. And honestly, when I was an agent, I didn't use a lot of them either. But I was looking at something the other day, like just this one as an example. This one right here, Quarterly Economic Stats and Facts. So it's this until June. There'll be a new one coming out the middle of October for July, August, and September. But there is some cool stuff in here, gang. Like, I mean, our population, the unemployment, the median income. Gives you a little bit of table of contents. If you're curious what the gross domestic product is in Las Vegas, if that's your thing, there it is, okay? But my point on this, if I was an agent, I would take parts of this and be doing YouTube videos all day. 30 seconds here, 45 seconds there, telling them about the population, telling my sphere of influence about the visitor volume. If I see one more negative article about Las Vegas, I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to move back to Jersey City, New Jersey. I swear, well, that'll never happen. But this report is something that you could use to offset maybe some of the negativity you might be getting from clients. Because as a matter of fact, if I didn't mess it up here, this was on Channel 8 News a week or two ago, or a month or so ago. Report ranks Las Vegas near the top in foreclosure filings, experts say. Okay? And I think in the article it says year over year we're up 43% in foreclosures. That's a lot. It really is, right? Yeah. But who knows how many foreclosures we had in August of 2024?
100%.
153. How many do we have this August?
200%.
213. That's a 42% difference, right? Yep. That's amazing. But it's 53 properties. Right. You know, but the consumer, exactly. Consumer just sees this and thinks we're in the shitter. So, you know, keep that in mind. These are the kind of things that hopefully you guys are following, okay? But this is something you're paying for, so use this. And if you go into, if I lost it already, this is the home page of lvrdata.com where you can get there through Applied Analysis. And even this thing, this is the coolest report. This is a sort of like a Google Doc that they update on all the projects on the Strip. So if you go through this, if I can find it, like if you're curious, I do a video on this. Hey, Tim Kelly real estate fans on YouTube, what's the top 3 states people are migrating into Vegas? The winner gets a $25 gift card. There it is. It's right there. That's what I'm saying, you know? So there's a wealth of information here that I hope you guys are utilizing, okay? This was a cool stat years ago. If you're moving to Vegas from LA, it costs $636 to rent a U-Haul. I'm sorry. Vegas to LA, it's $300. But when you go home, the price doubles. Yeah. So he has some really cool stuff in here, Brian Gordon. So utilize this stuff, gang, is my point, okay? Because it's at your fingertips, and a lot of times we kind of just forget this stuff, okay? Some good news there. There she is. We all know who Vianney is. I can't believe it's been a year. Woo-hoo-hoo. But it's been a year. I think it's been a year since these guys were here, too. So it's funny how that works out. And a year ago this month was the LVR election that you're all excited about. Right? Well, the election's coming here, as a matter of fact, and this is a handout. These are the people running for the different positions. Realty One Group, we would never tell you who to vote for. Never. You know, you one person, one vote. Those highlighted ones just happen to work for Realty One Group. Susan, Mark, and Mark. And the good thing about Susan, Mark, and Mark, they've all been on the board of directors before. So they're all very qualified. I think Vianney was nice enough to give a bunch of stuff out about them. They might reach out to you, to call you, to get your vote, send you a video or something. But it starts next Monday. And it goes to Wednesday at 2 o'clock. So Suzanne and Vianney will set up a little computer out there so you can just come in and vote real quick and go about your day. But vote, okay? Let's see if we can get 3,000 or 4,000 of the 15,000 to vote. Usually it's not that many. Usually it's 2,500 total agents vote out of 15,000.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. It just drives me crazy. But that's happening next week, just so you guys know. Where's James? Is James here or Christina? Of course not. Oh, you're right here. There she is. Okay. And where are you? There you are. They both had a great month in August. Made a ton load of money. So hit them up for a loan. Okay. Here's some. She's broke. It's all spent already, right? It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. It's
I
gone.
just like to say I'm always broke.
That a girl. That a girl. If you're curious, this is the numbers today. And again, as much as people are saying we're really slow, and we are compared to last year, but in August we closed 2,400 homes. I'm rounding up, give or take. We don't have the official numbers from LVR yet, but about 2,400 total properties last month. Last year we closed 2,700 properties. Okay, it's less, but it's not dramatically less, like you might think, or you might be hearing on podcasts and stuff like that. Okay, but the cool thing about it is that the prices are still strong. Last year was $476, now it's $480, and last year the average was $574. August was $582. But do you guys think those prices are going to stay the same, go up, go down? What do you guys think? For the rest of the year, client asked you. So what do you think? Prices are going to go up or go down or stay the same?
It's going to get concessions. Prices aren't going to change much, but sellers are going to get more concessions, especially if they've been on the market for a little bit.
Okay, bring Paul on your listing appointments. Okay, for a fee, he'll join you there. Okay, but you have to have a take on it because people are going to ask you. So what do you think, Christina? Are rates are high? Are prices going to start going down with all these properties coming on the market? You would think prices are going to start going down, but it's been a year and they really haven't. So keep that in mind. Some other stuff. For those of you that love the Best of Las Vegas, we have a lot of people that are involved in it. Some teams are in it. Some of our agents are in it. I think 5 or 6 of our teams are a part of it. We have a couple of our agents in the luxury category. If you don't know how to do it, see Wendy. She's voted. She might be from New Jersey. In New Jersey, you vote early and often. She's voting every day on every computer.
Every computer can vote once. So I vote on my phone, my computer, and then all of the other computers. And then Suzanne found out that you can vote on Chrome and what was the other one?
Safari.
Also on your computer. So we like to be the rocks in there, Hills ones in there. But we can all vote because everybody's allowed to vote.
And if you're voting for Realty One, you might as well also vote for Rock Title.
Correct. Did you guys win last year? Oh, no, second.
We
I forgot.
something. Bronze or gold or...
Yeah, second. I thought it was second place, right? Yeah.
Are we still in finance?
Yes, so it's in the finance department, under title company, finance, title company, and then rock title.
Wow. All right. Best of Las Vegas. Okay, rock your vote. Again, a little promotion from Rock Title to cast your vote. These are agents that have been with us a long time. The only one that jumped out at me, which I didn't realize it was 17 years, was Dolly. We all know Dolly, or maybe you don't. She has the office over by me, down the side, Dolly and Margie. She's been here 17 years. It's amazing. It really, really is, you know? And then, like I said, we have our favorite ones that have been here even longer, like Rowena Sniffen, 17 years. I think I've seen Rowena twice in the 6 years I've worked here, you know, because she works from home, and she comes in to pick up her check. We love those agents, okay? We really do. We really love those agents. Anyway, what else we got here? These are birthdays. If you're on this list, happy birthday. Huh? Casper, you're on here?
Yep.
23rd.
Oh, wow.
On the right.
39?
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Don't forget the summit's coming up. Tony Robbins is going to be there. It's going to be great in November in Miami. Hopefully some of you will go. We know it's a little big ticket. You know, if someone else asks me if we're getting any free tickets, I'm going to shoot you guys. Okay? See Suzanne about that. Okay? Suzanne will take care of that. Okay?
I'll tell you where to go.
Yeah, that a girl. That's it. Yeah, that a girl. You take care of that, right? You'll be glad to know we're done with CE for a little while. Right? We've had free CE here for months, every other week. So we're going to take a little bit of a break for a month or so. So there's no CE. Don't forget the calendar that Tim was cool enough to create. It looks better than this on your phone when you pull it up, so it doesn't look quite this distorted. But a really cool calendar. Don't forget CE and Post. If you go to Key, it's free. We pay for it. Okay? Are they up and running, the division? Okay. So the division was down for a little bit, but now they're back to normal. So if you need CE by the end of September, go to the website and we'll pay for it for you. Okay? So keep that in mind. Everything's kind of quiet, Maria. Anything, right? No news is good news. Okay? But don't forget, every third Tuesday she's going to be in here for an hour or two, either going over transaction desks. All right, well, you know, an hour or so, covering transaction desk and SkySlope. I would recommend if you're going to come, send her an email. Let her know what you want to talk about or what your topic might be. And bring a laptop. That would be great too, okay? That's the rev-up schedule moving forward for the new agents. Upcoming, we have Pulte next week. John Morgan's going to do a really cool class on this thing called the Hopper program. It's a new mortgage program. And then me and John are going to do, and Wendy are going to do a CRM class on the 25th. And of course, we could never do half of this stuff without our beloved friends from good old Rock Title. So there they are. It's a Tim Sam sighting again today. It's always good to see Tim. Whatever you want to do. Yeah, no, your thing. Do your thing.
Go to the next slide real quick. and
I can
I'll
go to the
let
next slide.
Tim take over here.
Yep.
Okay, so you guys missed this today, so this was yesterday actually. But every month at Rock Title, I am having a senior focus professional come in to share valuable information, so how you could better serve your senior clients. Yesterday I had an elder law attorney. The following month, which is October 1st, I'm going to have he's not an attorney, he's called Probate Killer, and he does a lot of stuff more on the affordable side for people that need trusts, LLCs, etc. So he's going to be our speaker, which I'll get working on that flyer. And then if you want to go one more slide, Tim. September 18th in Summerlin. Stay after the meeting. I'm going to be going over not just the basic that sheet stuff on Rock Agent, but there's so many new calculators, like the cost to hold. If you guys are ever bored, just go to Rock Agent, play around with all the calculators. But there's always little videos on each one of them. But I'll go over all that stuff, and then some of the more basic stuff too. But I'll start with the new stuff first. So if you guys already know how to use Rock Agent and the NetSheet part, we'll save that towards the end. So if you know how to do that, you can just leave. But I will turn this over to Tim Sams. Thank you, guys.
All right. Let's get this up and running. First time using this program. Hopefully it goes smooth. Who has tissue? Strange question. Who has tissue? I might need it. I was raised in this home.
No.
So I'm trying to sell my parents' home, the home that I was raised in. So I just thought I'd get some more eyes on it because you guys are all amazing. You have amazing networks. 4 bedrooms, 2 bath, 2,000 square feet. It's almost like this in Montana, quiet. You hear streams, you hear birds, no traffic, no sirens.
How far is it from Yellowstone?
3 hours.
Okay.
But Yellowstone's pretty. Anyway, hit me up if you're looking to invest or you're trying to move it.
How much is this?
425. 425,000.
Wow.
Helena,
Helena?
Montana. Capital City, Montana. Thank you.
How big a lot?
That's a great question. It's big. Like it's double this and back.
Oh, wow.
And it's all grass. I know because I'm paying somebody to mow it every 2 weeks. All right. Okay, here's the other reason why I asked if you had tissue. This one's really got me. Hashtags. Hashtags are dying on Instagram. They're no longer valid. Is that news to anyone? No. They're gone. Okay. They've lost their algorithm power. But you might be wondering what's taking its place. So let's talk about that real quick. Okay, so hashtags are outdated. And there's a few things that you can do to help grow your account. And people that have been implementing this in 2025 have seen 200 to 400% growth on their accounts. Your profile. It's all about keywords in your profile. They're replacing the hashtags. So build out your profiles. Look for top 10 searches, what people are searching for. Get those keywords and work them into your profile, into your posts, into your reels, into your pictures that you're posting. Okay? Because 24/7 web crawlers are crawling the internet, indexing, and you want to be found. Keywords. All right. And then if you have a business account, like a creator account, business account, check your analytics if you have time. But sell properties first, right? Okay. I came across this in Montana, and actually I spot checked a few people, not in this office, but a different office. And what I found is people potentially might be using link in profile. I don't want to say incorrectly, but they're not taking advantage of it. So what I found with the real estate agent I'm working with in Montana, I clicked on the link because I saw the property, my property, and I was like, okay, it says Lincoln Property, so I click on the link, and it takes me to her Google My Business profile page. Like, I lost the property. So don't drive people away from the property. So use Linktree. Use Linktree and also FeedLink. Have you heard of FeedLink? Okay, Linktree you can use for basically all your guides and resources. If you have an automated calendar that people can click on and set time with you, put that all into Linktree. All right? But when you post a just listed or open house and you click on that post, FeedLink will take the consumer wherever you want them to go. Good example would be a page on your website that speaks specifically to that post, right? Just listed, they click on it, now they're on your web page with that property, now they can learn more about the property. So you're driving people where you want them to go to make sure that you have the biggest impact possible. All right, drive traffic, capture leads, both of them will do this. Here's an example of Linktree right there. View available properties. If you were to click on any one of these, it will take you to the property. It's an amazing product. You can even get a customized URL. All right. Anybody using MiniChat? You heard of MiniChat? Okay.
We use a Maximum Chat. That really would.
Not Mini?
Yeah, not many.
Mini is
Max.
not M-I-N-I, but M-A-N-Y. Anyway, that said, listen, 2025, that's where we're at, folks. AI is all around us. Now we're talking synthetic intelligence. That's a whole different topic. But my point being is get something to work for you, your assistant. So if you post, like, check out the homes available in Summerlin, and somebody clicks on that, then Messenger opens up in Facebook and says, hey, thanks for checking out my Summerlin homes. Would you like some more information? And they type yes into the Messenger. It's a bot that's doing it all. You don't have to monitor it. It's working for you 24/7. So think about it as a conversation, right? Somebody's in front of you. Do you have homes for sale in Summerlin? Yes, I do. Would you like more information? Of course I would. What's your email? The bot is doing and responding to all of this. It's working for you. Would you like a list of homes in Summerlin? The bot will do it already. And all this information is being funneled into your CRM and to you for a follow-up. Mini chat, $15 a month. Okay, don't get too excited. This is not, I usually put this QR code up to get a copy of my presentation. But I value your input. I want to talk about things that are relevant to you, things that you want to learn, things that you want to implement. So utilize this, and it's going to take you to a survey or a poll. And it says 3 sections. It's really like 15 questions. Easy to fill out, but would love your feedback so I can tailor presentations, workshops, the things you want to hear about. So I can talk all day about Velveeta cheese. Anybody know what Velveeta cheese is? I can't believe they even sold that stuff.
Tim,
Like, it's
you
not
have to
even-
scoot the
Let's
QR
scoot it up?
code. Yeah.
It's not taking it?
No, just scroll down a little bit.
Thank you.
Better?
Yes,
And hopefully it works.
it works now.
Did it take you to my property to put an offer in? Should have done it.
That would have been funny.
Anyway, what else is going on? Afterwards, I'm going to work on Google My Profile. So if you have a laptop and want to join in on that to get your Google My Profile set up, we're going to step through that step by step. It's free. 8.6 billion searches happens on Google daily. 8.6 billion. And of that, 43%-ish are local intent. Top realtors, you know me. Are you going to show up? Can't if you don't have that page. So let's work on that afterwards. What else come down the pike? Reports, listing presentation, not listing presentation, but listings, reports coming up on OneSuite training on Zoom on Monday. And then as a follow-up on Wednesday on Zoom, Google My Profile on how you can attract leads and build trust. So we're going to build your page today, and then on Wednesday we're going to follow it up with a guest speaker on Zoom. You don't have to get out of your PJs. Just come hang out with me, bring yourself some snacks, and let's build that part of your business out.
Good stuff, Timbo. Hey, thank you.
7 minutes.
Woo! Woo! Hey, if you guys are not getting Tim and Heather's monthly email from Rock with all the statistics, you know, the appreciation map, the number of NOS, NODs, trustee sales, email them, okay?
You can
'Cause-
email me and I'll email our customer service department to add you.
Right. Because I had a buddy in New Jersey who I used to work with Remax called me about the foreclosures. Hey, Tim, I heard the foreclosures are up 42%. What's going on? So I emailed these guys. I said, send me the chart. And they sent me a chart in 5 minutes. And that's where I found out the difference is, 48 more REOs, not 48,000 like they think. So their reports are really good. I like the appreciation map. Okay, so you can always see where you live, if you own a property, what the appreciation percentage is on your house year over year. So little stuff like that, right?
Real quick on this.
Real quick.
First of all, you guys are amazing. Thank you for promoting the live calendar. I wanted to point out on onerockstars.com live calendar, if you go there, it's actually tiles. Tiles, and it's easier to read. I don't know if you click on this, do you get this version? I haven't checked it out. But
Yep.
either way, just pointing that out. Tiles, much easier to read on your phone.
Beautiful. Okay. All right. Can you get me out of that? Back
in
where I
it.
was?
Where do I
Yeah.
need to
Okay. While Tim's doing that, I want to. If anyone's around today from 4 to 6, I'm going to do my darnest to get here. Where's Carol? Is Carol here? Carol has a cool open house on a multi-million-dollar property in TPC Summerlin, right? Is that where it is? Or
This one actually is at Aventura, which is Summerlin by the Las Vegas TPC.
by TPC, right?
And
Okay.
the house next to it is also.
Oh, 2 open houses on the same block, more or less,
Next to each other.
next to each other. Wow.
Broke open.
Okay, okay. So if you're a newer agent and you've never been to a broker open, this might be a good time to go, just to see kind of what they're like. Okay, the goal is for agents to show up. That's what Carol's hoping, other brokers, other real estate agents. But I'm sure people in the neighborhood will show up too. But it might give you a good taste of how a broker open might work if you ever want to do one down the road, okay? Am I missing anything yet? No? Okay. Okay. All right, guys, let me see if I can get back to where we want to be here. And then you guys all know who Alex is, right? Most of you that have been here for a while know who Alex is, okay? If you've been here a long time and you don't know who Alex is, maybe that's a good thing. That means you've never been in trouble, okay? Not that you see Alex when you get in trouble, but Alex is our corporate attorney, our general counsel for the whole company, all 500 Realty One groups. And he comes in 4 times a year and does a presentation for us to talk about our E&O insurance and a bunch of other stuff. But in reality, locally, when we have an issue, we go to these guys. These 2 guys over here. You know, not that Alex doesn't want to help us, but he's opening up a franchise in Singapore, making sure all those contracts are correct. And not that he doesn't want to help me and Mark and Jeff out, but sometimes he can't. So that's why we have Jeff and Andrew. So I'm going to do my best to find your presentation if I follow Suzanne's instructions correctly. Look at that, Suze. Look at that. I found it here, right? I didn't mess it up. So let me just, how do I get the slideshow, right? And from beginning? All right, gang, ladies and gentlemen, Jeffrey Saab and Andrew Sharples, everybody. Woo-hoo. Now, this thing should, if you hit the one on the right, it should advance it, but the box is over here, so you might have to be on this side of it for it to move, if you know what I'm saying.
Can I?
Wherever you want, put it anywhere you want. Yeah. Try to advance the screen, see if it does it from there. Okay, good. Okay, well, okay, then you're fine. Beautiful.
First and foremost, this is being recorded. I love Alex. He's awesome. I actually work very closely with Alex. He's a good guy, smart guy. He's a great resource for you. When something happens in terms of us getting the cases, if there's a complaint, potential lawsuit, you report that up the chain. That gets to Alex at some point, and then Alex will funnel that over to us. So that's how we get the cases, generally through Alex. But my name is Jeff Saab. This is Andy Sharples, and we are 2 of the attorneys who have the privilege of helping you good folks out when you need us. We work for Bremer, White, Brown, and O'Meara. That's my law firm. About 25 years old is the firm. We've got about 275 attorneys currently, and we are a full-service law firm. We're here, we're in Arizona, Colorado, Texas, we're all over. We even have an office in South Africa, so we're everywhere. Me personally, I am the senior managing partner in the Las Vegas office, or co-managing partner. Former Muni Court Judge Pro Tem. I handle a variety of cases. I'm a litigator and actual trial attorney. So I know who's in court, know who's in trial. Handle cases with $100 million, $200 million in exposure, everything from wrongful death to, I've probably worked on every construction defect case involving all of the luxury high-rise towers in Vegas. I'm not going to name names, but that unique skill set helps me to help you folks, because a lot of the issues that we see involve with like failure to disclose issues within the home, right? And there's like patent deficiencies and latent deficiencies. Patent deficiencies are stuff that you can see with the naked eye. Latent deficiencies are stuff that might be like mold in the wall, right? You're never going to see those things. Which is why you always want to have a home inspector, because in the eyes of the aggrieved party, you are the de facto inspector, right? Oh, why didn't you tell me there was mold in the wall, right? You're never going to know those things, so always have a home inspector. When Andy's up, he's going to tell you a bit about himself, and he's also going to help give you some tips to potentially avoid a lawsuit. So, litigation is very costly. Here we provide kind of a brief overview of the litigation process, but litigation is super expensive, and above and beyond that, it takes a lot of time. So depending upon what the agent or broker gets sued for, be it professional negligence, be it breach of contract, from the point that something happens up until the point that the lawsuit is filed, it could be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, right? Then the lawsuit gets filed, that could be another 5 years, right? And then depending upon how that plays out, that could be another 3 years for the appeal. So you're looking at living with this for a decade. So the best thing to do is to not get into a lawsuit if you can in the first place. You know, it's not only the money and the time. You know, I've been with the firm 16 years. It's the effect that it has on you folks psychologically, right? You can't sleep at night. You get home and you're grumpy. You're upset. You don't know why. It's this friggin' lawsuit, right? That's been hanging around for a decade, basically. So, you know, what we do is we try to assuage those concerns. Andy and I get paid to kind of take the pressure off you folks And so in the event that we are retained, we're going to meet with you. You're going to get our cell phone numbers, right? You're going to get our email addresses. You're going to have access to us whenever you need access, right? Because we want you to feel that things are going to be okay. 98% of these things get resolved before trial, right? So that's huge. The other 2%, they go to trial. Sometimes they get resolved before the jury comes back, right? A lot of times we get these cases settled early on. So we're going to be with you every step of the way. One thing about this, though, is we've got kind of a list of things to be mindful of during the litigation process, but I want to talk just briefly about your obligation to preserve evidence. And so if you have any inkling whatsoever that a transaction that you're involved with is going to result in a lawsuit, you have an affirmative obligation to preserve evidence. Emails, text messages, videos, whatever it is, you have to preserve it. Now, it may not end up in a lawsuit, right? But if it does, there's something called spoliation of evidence. And if you do not fulfill your obligation to preserve evidence, and the other side files a spoliation motion, they can get sanctions against you and Realty One Group. That could be a striking of your answer to the complaint. That's huge, right? Basically, if that happens, you're eating liability and you're going to have to pay. It could be a permissive adverse inference, a rebuttable presumption. So basically, when we go to trial, the other side can say, hey, jury, so-and-so with Realty One, they shredded these documents, right? These things are gone. So when you're going back to deliberate, you're allowed to assume or to think that maybe there was something damaging to the interests of Realty One, which is why they didn't keep that evidence. So you've always got to keep that evidence. Keep in mind, too, that when you're dealing with someone, anything, a computer, a cell phone, that stuff can all be subpoenaed, right? So be super careful about that. Obviously, if we're retained and there's a subpoena, we will do our best to limit the information that they get, right? Because obviously, if Steve, for example, is mad, right, you're doing business with lots of folks, right? So it's none of Steve's business what you did with Sally or Joe or whoever else. So we'll go ahead and basically file a motion for protective order or some document to limit what they can get from you. But just bear in mind, whether you have a work cell phone, a personal cell phone, if you're communicating with clients, potentially all of that's fair game. But again, ultimately, just save everything that you can. Getting sued, it happens. So, in some states, there are mechanisms for weeding out frivolous lawsuits. We don't have any of those here, right? Anyone can sue basically anybody for almost any reason. Now, there's a way to address those things once a complaint is filed, but we're what's called a notice pleading jurisdiction. So basically, the party filing the lawsuit just needs some minimal facts. They don't even need a lawyer. They're called a pro per litigant. They can sue you without having an attorney, which is terrible, because they generally don't know what they're doing. And once that complaint is filed, they have 120 days to serve you. Once you're served through the registered agent, you have 21 days to answer. It's imperative that that answer is filed, because if it's not, they can get what's called a default judgment. And basically, again, it's almost akin to an admission of liability, and that's just about the money, how much you have to pay. So you want to make sure you take care of that. Responding to a complaint, what we do generally is we deny the allegations. They cast a very wide net, and Realty One and the agent and the broker did everything wrong possible. We'll meet with you before we prepare the answer, but we respond to the allegations, and we also assert what are called affirmative defenses. That basically you folks met the standard of care, you complied with the contract, you met your obligations under the statutes, right? That the other party is potentially comparatively at fault, right? Because a lot of times the party filing the lawsuit had some hand in what went down, right? So that's one way we offset damages. We can file things early on, like a motion to dismiss. Maybe the complaint they filed is time barred, right? They blew the statute of limitations. So there's different things that we can look at to try to get you out of the case early on. Discovery. That's really what happens from the time the complaint is filed and there's an answer, and then there's trial. There's depositions, there's written discovery, there's disclosures, and the disclosures will encompass, to a good degree, Realty One documents, the documents generated by and between the buyer and the seller in the case, and then the evidence that you have of whatever the dispute is. Again, that's why it's important to keep that evidence and not destroy it. You have an obligation to do so. Expert discovery, we have a group of experts that we use. One gentleman is a professor at UNLV. Other folks are former brokers, but we use them generally to rebut or refute allegations that you somehow breached your fiduciary duties with respect to disclosures, obligations. And so we've got a good group of experts that we utilize to help protect you folks. Depositions, I don't know if anyone here has been deposed. I think they're fun. I've probably taken and defended about 800 of them in my career. Big and small cases. Basically, you're in the room, it's under oath, you're going to get asked questions by the adverse attorney, and then they grill you, right? They could grill you for an hour, 2 hours, 7 hours. But what we do, and we're very skilled at, is we go out of our way to prepare you. They'll come to our office, you'll go through a mock depot prep session. One of my associates will play the role of the adverse attorney, and we're just going to grill you. We're really going to beat you up, right? So that way, when you go into that deposition, you're not going to be fazed by anything. You're like, yeah, I already know this question, I know how to respond, so we're going to take care of you. And again, you're going to have my cell phone number. I tell people, hey, call me in the middle of the night if you have a question. Call me before the deposition. Like, I just want you to know that we're going to take care of you. So that's not something that you need to worry about.
Maybe.
Now, professional negligence, that's one thing that gets asserted. Andy's going to come up, he's going to tell you a bit about himself, kind of talk about what some of these claims are, and maybe what you can do to avoid getting sued. So, Andy?
All right.
My name is Andy Sharples. I've been with the firm for a little over 3 years now. I pretty much do it all. Your standard car accidents, slip and fall cases. Historically, I've done a lot of business litigation, and I also handle these what we call professional negligence cases that really involve somebody buying a home. They discover some kind of defect, and they're mad, right? So they're going to sue the seller. They're going to sue the seller's agent. And they're also going to sue their own agent. And they may even sue if there's an inspector, they may bring them into the lawsuit. And that's done through NRS 645, which I know you guys are familiar with. That is the Nevada law that sets forth what a realtor's duties are in a real estate transaction. And if somebody's going to sue in a case like this, where they bought a home that they say is defective, and they want to bring a realtor into the case, they actually have to sue through that section. They can't bring like a common law negligence claim or something like that. It has to be through NRS 645. And we actually prefer that because NRS 645, in addition to providing a right of action against a realtor, there's also some defenses that we can utilize that are hardwired into the statute. We'll talk about that a little bit as we go on. Okay, so NRS 645. It's pretty broad, right? If you look at number 2, shall exercise reasonable skill and care with respect to all parties in a real estate transaction. And that really makes it easy for plaintiffs, somebody who bought a home, to bring a lawsuit, because they say, well, you didn't exercise reasonable skill and care because, this home had mold in it, it had asbestos, it had, a bad roof, something like that. And my agent didn't live up to their standard of care because they didn't find this stuff when they should have. And the other part of NRS 645 that we see in these lawsuits is the disclosure requirement, which requires you to disclose any kind of material fact that you're aware of. And plaintiffs, of course, will say, well, you either knew about it or you should have known about it. We have some things to say about that. So these are some sample allegations from the real complaints. I know it's kind of small, but I wanted to give you the actual language of the kind of case we see. But just taking a look at the left side, defendants breaches statutory obligations to plaintiff by, among other things, failing to competently or at all research and properly advise plaintiff of the MLS history of the property, failing to properly advise plaintiff as to the inspections that were prudent to have been conducted under the circumstances, and on and on and on. Now, to be clear, we disagree with this, right? This is just what a plaintiff is gonna say in the case. We worked really hard to refute this, to defend this, but this is the kind of allegation we see. It's usually something related to a property inspection, where they say, look, my client's a layperson, they bought this home, they didn't know that they were supposed to get, a detailed inspection on this home, and you should have advised them. Now, we know that we do provide them with disclosure, right? It's in the buyer's notice of disclosure, that it has a whole paragraph about, for instance, a mold inspection, where it says there may be hidden mold issues with this home. We encourage you to retain an inspector in order to assess the home and determine if there's any kind of mold problem. We provide that, and they'll still say, well, you didn't go far enough, because particularly in a case involving a flipped property, they're going to say, well, that's a red flag, right? This home is being flipped. They're trying to just do these repairs, get it flipped, get it back on the market. They may have cut corners. That should be a red flag that more scrutiny is needed, specifically when it comes to home inspections. On the other side, in cases involving agents where they acted as a seller's agent, it's more of a should have known, right? Because the seller's always going to be in a position to know more about the property than the buyer. So they try to extrapolate that to the seller's agent. So it's like, you representing the party that sold this. If there's issues with the home, you should have known about that. And that's the kind of allegations we see when you represent sellers. Now, NRS 635, it's a short sword and a shield. It provides a right of action for a plaintiff to bring a claim against a realtor, but it also provides some defenses, right? And those are in subsection 4. You don't have to verify the accuracy of the statements made by an inspector. So if they get the home inspection, the inspector issues a report and basically says, yeah, good to go, no major issues found. You don't have to second guess that. And that's something that we bring up in the case, something we assert as an affirmative defense, like Jeff talked about. It gives us some ammunition down the line to bring a motion for summary judgment later. Another one is you don't have to verify, or you don't have to conduct an independent inspection of the financial condition of the party. We don't see much of these disclosure cases, but it's another defense. That might come up more in commercial property cases that we see from time to time, but that's another tool that we can use. And C, you're under no duty to conduct an investigation of the condition of the property. And that's something that's helpful to us too, because you're the agent. You're not a contractor, you're not an architect, you're not a specialist. Your job is to go through the property and assess what's wrong with it. The only obligation you have when it comes to disclosing is something that you're aware of. So if you walk into a house and obviously see puddle on the ceiling and it's dripping water, you're aware of that. You would have to disclose that to the other side. But that's something that's latent, that's something that's obvious. And in the kind of cases we see, plaintiffs are trying to attribute something that wouldn't necessarily be obvious to you, like, again, mold, asbestos, something that's, in the wall that you want to be able to see what an inspector would. 645-259 is something else that we utilize too, where you're not responsible for a misrepresentation made by your client, or you're also not responsible if you're representing a seller, if they make some kind of misrepresentation on the SRPE form. You're not responsible for that either. The only way you can be liable is if you know about something. If there's something that you're aware of that you don't disclose, that you can be held accountable for that. But if your client is lying and you don't know that they're lying, you're protected from that. So what you can do is help us if you do get sued. One of the most important things is to document your file. Particularly if you're dealing with a flip property, if you're dealing with anything related to disclosures, that would be really helpful to have in writing. So you provide the disclosures, the buyer notice of disclosure that has the paragraph about mold, all the other things. After you provide that to them, and they're like, yeah, I don't really want to get an inspector. That should be a cue to follow up in writing. You can send an email. Emails are always better than texts. We'll get into admissibility today, but they're just easier for us to work with. You could just send a quick email that just says, hey, client, great to talk to you today. I know I sent you recommends a property inspection, a mold inspection. My understanding is you don't want to go through this. I just wanted to double check because we strongly recommend. And if you have that in your file, that's used here. That's something we can use. So then, go after recommend an inspection. You didn't, do enough to steer us towards. We can pull out that email and say, yeah, it's right here. And if they respond and say something like, yeah, it's too expensive or something like that,
Yes or no?
that's something that can help us do. Now, to be clear, if you don't do that, it doesn't mean you violated NR 645. It doesn't mean you did anything wrong. But it's something that does help us. The more communication that you have with your client, the better. And if you do it in emails, particularly for something like inspection, anything related to disclosure requirements, that's something that we can use to help defend the case.
Andy, can I jump in and ask you a question?
Sure.
So Christina's the agent for me, and I'm the buyer, and tomorrow is the home inspection at 2 o'clock. And I call her up and say, you're coming with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is she coming with me? Do we want her to go on the inspection?
So, I don't want to give any kind of instruction that's different from
Right.
what your guys' normal
Right, yeah.
practice.
But yeah, just generally speaking.
Yeah, I would say it's okay to go. I mean, it's not like you go and all of a sudden you're going to be held to a higher standard because, again, unless it's something open and obvious, it's something like water dripping from the ceiling. Just because you go, I don't think that puts you in any kind of additional.
Any more liability or not, right? Okay, because we get asked that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually asked that question before.
Yeah, at my old company, one of the owners said, we can't go. We don't want you going. I don't care if that buyer is begging you. If it's your brother, you're not allowed to go. I'm not saying it's right, okay? But again, it's all about the liability and, because you were there, maybe there's more liability. But I got you. Okay, that makes sense.
But it's definitely whatever the normal practice is, we don't want to disrupt that and give you kind of any.
And if the seller is having difficulty with the SRPD and they say, hey, Christina, I'm not sure about this. Could you help me fill it out? What's your advice?
Yeah, that's.
Do we run away?
Here's the thing, you can't, I can tell you what the law says, and you're not allowed to fill it out for you, right? It has to be filled out by the seller, and if you're just telling them what to say, that's kind of the same thing.
Okay.
So I would say, obviously I don't want to, disrupt whatever the normal standard operating procedure is, but the law says you can't fill it out. And I think what's consistent with that is if you're just telling them what to say, like, yeah, check yes for that and no for that, I think that's kind of the same thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Question?
Sure.
I have a question on that. So like, if they fill it out and they say the roof is leaking, something is broken, but their writing is terrible and you cannot understand what it says, can I type it for them and have them initial it?
That's a good question.
Because you can't understand what they're saying, so like you had to ask, what does it say here so that I can type it and write it down, so that the other agent can understand what it says?
Yeah, my instinct would be I wouldn't do that because I think there's somebody else that you could, because I mean it's a purely secretarial kind of task, right? It's not like you as the realtor have to decipher handwriting for your client and make it nice and neat. I think Yeah, and then the thing is, if it does go to litigation, and I mean, it's like, yeah, I typed this out for them, that's probably not a good look. So I think
Yeah, so the Realty One Group answer is no. You can't do it, okay? They should have a relative, a kid, a neighbor, somebody at the senior center, you know what I'm getting at, that could type this up for them, if that's the case, instead of us doing it, because,
Can they type it up on your computer if you're sitting next to them, filling it out?
when in doubt, the answer is no.
I just have a comment on that.
sure.
I know there's little space in there to write, but then there's always like an explanation, the bigger. So what I do is I say do it in capital letters, I do not see, and then there's enough space in there. It's
Yeah.
huge, like 2 pages, is it? You know, for that.
So you can
Yeah,
always
so you
attach
can
more
always
of these.
write in there, but no type, but I have another question I wanted to ask. So what if the seller is selling his own property and he's a broker, realtor? Does the law applies more strict to him or her? Or is it the same guidelines? Like if I'm listing my property and I'm a realtor, would I be slashed more or come to a scrutiny more than other agents, other sellers, or if the law applies the same to me?
Yeah, I don't think that situation, that person wouldn't be subject to more stringent standards, because the law is the same for everybody, but I think the law under 113 would apply because that agent is a seller.
Right.
So it's the seller who's the one making representations, and that he could be liable for making misrepresentation.
Right.
And then acting also in the realtor hat too, I think that 645 would also apply to him if he's acting as his own
Right.
agents.
So just make sure you know every details right now, everything.
Yeah, if there's something that you're aware of, it's always better to disclose it.
But it's the same, okay, thank you.
Quick question about that, and not to put you guys on the spot, sorry, but let's say you both were realtors, and you want to sell your house. Would you hire a realtor to represent you, or would you represent yourself?
So.
Sorry.
When it comes to lawyers representing themselves, just a joke. If a lawyer represents himself, he has to fool for the client. So I think you could translate that to being a
Okay.
realtor too. I think certainly I know it's apples and oranges to some extent, but yeah, I wouldn't. If I had a claim, like if I get in an accident, driving back to the office, I'd hire an attorney to represent me.
Mhm.
So
Okay,
that's just what I did.
perfect.
Yeah.
What's the statute of limitations for us to hold documents, as well as what's the statute of limitations for somebody to file a suit?
Yeah, so the document retention is actually a little bit different. Most companies have some kind of document retention policy, and as independent agents, it might be good to think about having maybe your own policy. Like I think for taxes, you want to keep your records for 7 years. Right? I think that's kind of a rule of thumb for most businesses too.
Yeah, and I'll just say, obviously follow whatever the Realty One policy is for document retention, but in instances where you think there's the potential for the lawsuit, the prevailing case law says you gotta hang on to that for at least 2 years. So,
How important would you guys say it is if one of our agents transact a deal, it opens escrow? How important is it to get all that paperwork into our data management system? Should they do it right away? Should they hold on to it until the deal closes? Or they upload it after it closes? Maria, I'm with you, baby, on this one. This is for you. This is for you, okay?
That's a big one. That's one of those things that, I keep telling everybody during my class. You never know on any transaction when it's gonna go sideways. When you think that the transaction is going great, that's when it can go sideways. So all these emails that you've been doing and back and forth with either the listing agent or your client, in SkySlope, there's a section that says document. Just load those in there as the deal goes through. You can load in there as much as you want. text messages, pictures, you know, emails back and forth. Just document it all. In that case, you know, when it gets to them, you just take that file and throw it over on their end, and they can go through and decipher all the emails, all the text messages, all the documents, and it makes it easier instead of having to go through your own, you know, section. You should, as we talked about it, you should have stuff in your cloud. That should be always in your cloud, but you can add things to ours.
You say ours, is that the SkySwap or?
Mhm.
SkySwap?
Yeah.
Oh.
As far as the timing of uploading it, I think the most important thing is make sure everything's preserved, even if it's not uploaded right away. Definitely never delete anything, never throw anything away. Like Jeff said, spoliation can be an issue. So as long as everything remains together, you know, in existence, you know, not deleted, that's really the most important thing. I don't think there's any disadvantage to getting it uploaded early.
And just to clarify on that issue, so obviously the document retention policy of Realty One is the document retention policy of Realty One. And what is that? Is that
3 days. They got uploaded within 72 hours of a deal being consummated.
Oh, sure. But once
Yeah.
that actually happens, though, once the document's in the system, how long are those documents maintained?
5 years, right?
I think they're in there, you know, we're recording this, right? I think a long, long time.
Very long time. So, right. So when I talk about like the 2-year, that doesn't supersede
Yeah.
the Realty One policy. That's the policy you follow. The 2 years would be more like if you've got text messages on your personal phone, you took some pictures, maybe you posted something on your Instagram, something that maybe wouldn't necessarily be a Realty One document per se. You still have the obligation to preserve that. So I just want to make sure we delineate between those two different bodies of evidence, but save both.
And I think what Andrew or Jeff said, which jumped out at me a minute ago, if you're representing a buyer and you know the property is flipped, really, really document everything. Nothing out of the ordinary, but find out as much as you can about, you know, from the date the flipper bought it to now he's listing it, you know, and a detailed list of what they rehabbed in the property. Because help me out here. In Nevada, I think if I'm a flipper and I buy a property that's gutted, right, and then 3 months later it looks spectacular. On the SRPD, I always put no for everything, and that's accepted. And I don't necessarily agree with that, if you know what I'm getting at. Like I put in a brand new kitchen, I replaced the AC, but when I get the SRPD as the buyer, everything is no. But the house is brand new. So there's a disconnect, and it's not on you guys, it's a disconnect, I think, with the division and such. But if you represent a buyer, 9 months down the road, you know, the lipstick on a pig kind of thing, you know, the house looks great, but you know, there's something hidden behind the walls. So just do some extra documentation of everything. Conversations, emails about a transaction like that. Maria?
Just a really quick one.
Sure.
This is my pet peeve, and we're here, and these guys are here, so they can back me up. And we're talking about SRPDs, you know, on here. You cannot fill out the SRPD. We've made that loud and clear, okay? LVR does not like you guys sending SRPDs through Authentisign. Why? Because the implication is that you're filling that out for your seller. Please, I say this in my classes all the time, please be careful with that. That's something that can come back and haunt you. Those radio tabs that you just put in there on the Authentisign, you guys have to put that in there. So basically, you're filling out the SRPD for your client. So please, again, make sure that those are being filled out by your client, am I right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, because in Authentisign, we have the system where it just basically goes to them through, let's call it DocuSign, electronically. You know, so basically it's them filling that out for their client. You know, LVR has an issue with that, and they've had it for years, because in court, that could be construed that you're filling it out for them, because it's going through your Authentisign system. So just be careful with that kind of.
So if I was a full-time agent now and I'm sending documents to my seller to sign electronically, I'm going to tell them that I'm going to be over later on today, Christina, with the seller's real property disclosure. I'm going to send it to Christina so she can see it, read it, be familiar with it, but I'm going to go over there and have her do it by hand and sign it.
When they're out of state.
Yeah, can you
They're out of state forever?
mail it?
Well,
Mail it to them. Mail it to them.
I used to do that also because when you send it electronically, it gives them a choice to say yes or no. It doesn't say, I don't check for them, yes.
Right, you're not filling in the boxes.
But
when you send it out.
It automatically puts there for them to say yes or no. So whatever they check, they do it on their own, on Authenticign. It
Right.
doesn't, so, we really don't do anything there because we cannot check the yes or no for them. They have to do it.
They're doing it.
Do you know how many times that they just click and they're not really, they're just answering, but they're not really focusing? So what I've always done is everything goes through Authenticign, and then when I go, if I'm taking the listing, I'm going over there when I'm doing the pictures or doing whatever, and I'll sit down, I'll say, okay, hey guys, ask me any questions, but you gotta fill that out. If they don't live there, I'm going to email you a copy, you'll have to print it out, fill it out, sign it.
Right. And email it back.
I do it manually. I prefer to do it manually and tell my agents to do it manually. Just go and do it with them because they always have questions with 8 and 9.
Right.
And they don't know what it means, the HOA,
Correct.
blah, 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 what to put, so you need to explain to them what it is. But in reality, when you send the one from Authenticign, we don't check their.
You're right, I know what you're saying, but it's easier for them to mess up.
Court is more what I'm concerned about, because when you get into court, how can you prove to the court that you didn't help in some way? That's the only thing. A lot of times it's more implication than what you actually physically did.
But the moral of the story, the good point is, like Jeff said, 99.4% of the deals never go to court. So that's a good thing, that's a good thing, Andrew, I'm sorry, continue. They'll go on forever with questions here, they'll just,
We should say, we don't see like a ton of these cases. This isn't something like we're being, files every day on this kind of stuff. I mean, you guys are doing a great job, and if even the ones we do see, there's some attorneys in town that they're just gonna name everybody, and just figure it out later, so.
If things happen, they happen.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what you do.
And just to round out the slide here, the last thing we have is any kind of contingencies, any kind of additional terms, that has to be in the RPA, it has to be in the contract. If there's something that's just kind of discussed, and if there's something that's understood, and it's not in the contract, it's not in the contract. It has to be in the four corners of the final RPA. So I know contingencies don't really, I don't know, my observation is that they're not something that's super common, but anytime there is one, just make sure it's in the RPA, so you're not relying on, well, so-and-so said this. I mean, it has to be in the contract. And that was everything we had for you today. Thank you guys so much for having us.
Thank you.
woohoo!
Pleasure. If there's any topics, any kind of subject that you guys are interested in, maybe relay that to Tim and he can let us know, and we can look into that for next time.
That'd be a good thing. Yeah, and before we go, gang, just a couple things. I want to thank Brad from Rock Title for showing up. Brad, he has better things to do than be here. And where's Sanji? Say hello to Sanji. She's brand new. And where's Miss Hicks? Gabrielle? We know you a little bit, but you're still new. So Gabrielle is here too. Somebody here too. Okay. But
I have a question.
it's too late. They're leaving. They're going. No, go ahead.
They can leave.
Yeah. No, ask them. Don't ask me. Ask them. No.
Oh, I just wanted to see what issues are people seeing with flips out there. Because other than recommending all the inspections, what else can we do? And put it in writing somewhere.
If you represent the buyer, if you're representing the buyer?
Both. Currently, I'm dealing with both. Let's say I have a seller and a buyer.
I mean,
So are we seeing any, like mold, okay, mold, I guess.
What other
that's a
red
big
flags,
one.
what exactly you highlighting the flip property as a potentially, just because they don't put anything on the SRPD, can we ask them to show us SRPD from when they bought it?
Sometimes the equipment switched out, that's not the proper equipment for, my home was a flip home, and we had two things, I was a new buyer, didn't know. One was the pool equipment, the motors were switched out to ones that weren't capable for the pool. The wireless transponder, and also we have the where it looks like the electrical system, water that comes in, that you can shut off each thing individually. That ended up leaking, and it was leaking unbeknownst to us what to look for when we bought the home, which created mold. And then I had to do mold remediation within the house. And those were things that
The inspector didn't.
or
Oh, wow.
agent could have looked at it and known enough to know that what to.
Christina just made a great point. If I represent the buyer on the flip home, and the SRPD is no on everything, but you go back into MLS and you see the photos of 1313 Mockingbird Lane, if you know what I mean, it's a nightmare. I would ask that listing agent for the SRPD when they bought the house. Okay, the only way around that is if it's a REO or a short sale, you might not get the SRPD then. But if it's a normal flip where they bought it, you could get that prior SRPD. Carol?
Tim, on every listing and every buy, I quote all the building permit records
Wow.
and provide it, and it takes
Yeah.
5
But it doesn't take, yeah.
less than on all listings. Any listing I take, because sometimes the sellers have a missed recall or they're lying. You don't know which, but they'll say, I replaced the air conditioner in 2018. No, it was 2008. You know, that kind of thing. So I just always pull building permit, and I'm always surprised, even when I'm showing like a $6 million house or whatever, the showing agent will say, well, it has new this, new that, and I pull up the building permits,
That's it.
and they're off by decade, or it was the previous seller, et cetera. So I don't know if they're lying or if they just got confused and never pulled the building permits, or their seller missed, but it takes 5 seconds to pull it.
Great idea. Good advice.
And they don't always pull one for hot water heaters and air conditioners, and the other thing is, often they don't do the final inspection. Don't get caught up on that, just kind of look at it. A lot of them say no final inspection because people get lazy and don't have them come back at the hot water heater. But in any case, it's just such an easy public reference, and it takes you
Yeah,
a second.
got it, okay. All right, Anna, last one.
I know Realty One is like international, and I do know that international clients, the people who are dealing with it. And, okay, if we are seller agent for the international clients and who are living in overseas, and they have to do the SFPD, and they probably do not know the current situation. And I think, I don't know if this is a good idea, but I think it's a good idea. Can we do this and let them hire the home inspection as a seller?
Of course.
Inspection.
Before you list it,
will have
sure.
Everything, so we can
Yeah.
send it to them, then let them file, the mark.
Yeah. When I was an agent, probably 10% of my deals, I would have my seller do the appraisal and inspection before I listed it.
Yeah, then we'll have kind of off
Yeah,
with
yeah.
our liability.
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah, good idea.
So, sometime I know myself too, but some other agents too, that I'm dealing with international clients, they will be nervous about that. It's such such an important issue.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So that's a good idea, right?
Yeah, great idea, yeah. All right, gang, ladies and gentlemen, Jeffrey and Andrew, guys.
Also, keeping as I walk out, one, I put some business cards up there.
Oh, excellent.
And then number 2, you can do everything right and still get sued. So keep that in mind. A little bit of comfort
Get
when we
the photo
eventually set the
of the
phase 3
winners.
floats, we have what's called a no admission of liability clause. So that even though there's money being paid, it's not a disputed claim, so there's no admission of liability. They are confidential, and what we'll try to do is work in non-disparagement, so that way the aggrieved party can't go and post stuff about you on the internet. So we're trying to cover you from all angles. So
1 to 17, pick a number.
16.
16.
Mary Faye.
Where's Mary Faye? Who won? Again? Did she? There you are. Winner again. Okay. We up the retail. We up the retail value. $14 retail value in that bag there. All right. Thank you, guys. All right, guys. Have a good day. Thank you much. Thank you much. All right. Let's take this off before I.